Good morning. Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Thursday. All right, we are waiting for people. How's everybody doing? All right, I'm going to share my screen. Get that set up. All right, tired. Yeah, I know. It's funny, you guys. How are we ever going to do this again? How are we ever going to get up and get on our way before, 8 o'clock anymore? I think they've ruined us forever with this, but we'll see. We're going to have to do it at some point. So at some point, the world and our schedule will have structure again. Where is everybody? There's only 8 of us here. That's a little concerning. Miss Perez is supposed to come today. Oh, that's Lit and Comp. Sorry. Miss Perez is supposed to pop by, I believe. We discussed that previously in the week. And then we're just going to talk briefly about being a voter. There she is. She's going to be so annoyed that there's only 9 of us here. Here we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
We are a little low on the attendance this morning. We've been doing great, and then of course the one day you're here, we don't have anybody yet.
Well, we can wait a minute or so if more people will come in.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. In the meantime, where do you think I am?
Ooh,
Where is Miss Perez at today?
looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the college center.
That's a good guess. You have the right place at Beaverton High School somewhere. But not the College and Career Center.
Is it a hallway?
Nope.
Why does that kind of look like Miss Mathis' room?
It is a classroom, but not Miss Mathis.
I would guess another AVID teacher, maybe.
I think she wanted to be an AVID teacher.
Oh,
but she's not.
I don't know whose class that is. Anybody recognize that classroom?
I am underneath Mr. Kenneth's class. If anybody had Mr. Kenneth, he was in the second floor.
Yeah. Is it Miss Kidd?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she has her room all like decorated.
It looks cute, so it must be Miss Kidd.
She has all this like AVID, like Wicker organizational skills. I was like, oh, this feels like I should be here.
Background.
Yes.
18 people, so I think we're looking pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So we should start. Could I borrow the screen?
Yeah.
Able to share screen. Okay. So today, friends, we are actually gonna talk. I have some announcements that I want to go over with all of you. But first, I want to talk about how to talk to your parents about money. I know sometimes it's a little awkward to talk to your parents about your financial aid, but all of you are working on your financial aid form right now, or some of you already finished it. And so I wanted to go over how to start working with your parents about making a financial plan. So all of you are probably going to receive some information fairly soon about colleges, probably like around, if you submit your application in November, then most likely you'll hear from some of the colleges by the end of January or early February. And so at that point, you actually will see if they're going to offer you any scholarships, any additional aid. And so I just wanted to make sure that you knew how to read your FAFSA once you submit it. So don't miss out reviewing it and going over some things that they're very, very important. So let me see if I can actually share my, so I'm not able to share the screen yet.
Should I do co-host maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, you are a co-host.
Oh, thank you. What is this? Does everyone see the slideshow of FAFSA?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So at the end, when you're pretty much have submitted your signatures and you hit submit to your FAFSA, there's going to be this page. Well, let me see, maybe I can make it there you go. You're going to see at the end, it's going to say, congratulations, blank, you know, it's going to say your name. And then it's going to tell you some information that's very important. It's going to give you an option to print that information. So that way you can have it. You can store it somewhere safe. And then there's going to be this section, which I think a lot of you are skipping. So it's going to tell you the estimated expected family contribution, which is the EFC. So it stands for expected family contribution. This specific example is telling the student that their parents, their family, their loved ones are supposed to contribute $2,592 towards their college funding. So when you see that number, I mean, some of us are going to be like, well, definitely when I was in high school and I did my FAFSA, if it would have told me that amount, I would have been like, ha, that's not going to happen because my family doesn't have the money, right? And so you guys need to actually sit down with your parents. At some point, that's what I did, to say, hey, there's this thing called the FAFSA. I inputted all your information. That's why I needed your taxes. And there's this thing called the EFC, which is the expected family contribution. And it says that you guys are supposed to help me with this much. And so even for your parents to know that, they can basically say, well, we have maybe part of it, right? Like partial amount. And so, and that's okay. And so that way you know what you need to do, which is basically continue applying to scholarships, maybe figuring out if you do need a loan. I know that a lot of students and families are kind of like, ooh, loans, I don't want to get a loan. But if you think about it, you're making an investment on your academics, on you, which is very important, your education. So I'm pretty sure Ms. Mathis, myself included, I borrow loans. I had to borrow loans at a certain point in my college, because even with scholarships, even with FAFSA and grants, I still needed a little bit more money to be able to afford to go to the University of Oregon. And so you have to also know how much is actually too much borrowing. And it's also important to know how much is just, okay. Because again, you're investing on your future. And so you shouldn't be like super scared of loans, but you should be informed about them. And so once you receive your information about your FAFSA, that's why it's very important for you to sit down with your family and say, this is what it is. Obviously, if you get an expected family contribution of 0, then that means like, your family is not expected to contribute anything, which means that the college is gonna try, I would say hard, very hard to give you as much money possible for you to go to their school. But it's unrealistic to say that a college is actually going to give you a complete package, which is like it will include um, your tuition, your room and board, your transportation, your books. Like that's unrealistic. Most colleges have money, but they don't have that much money to be able to give that much to a student. So you do have to realize that there's going to be some financial contribution regardless. Okay. And this is when it comes to making sure that you're applying to colleges that hopefully are going to give you a package that is going to be feasible for you. Okay. For example, I had a student that really wanted to go to Linfield because she wants to go into nursing. And so Linfield actually gave her a very good package to be a private school. It's fairly expensive. But she had a gap. It's called a gap when you don't have enough money once they offer it to you. So she had a gap of about $5,000. And so, we talked and I basically said, think about your future. Think about like how much money you're actually going to be able to make once you are a registered nurse, once you have your bachelor's in nursing, and how much money you will be able to actually pay back to the government if you do take a loan of $5,000. So obviously, like just making sure that there's a plan in place is very, very important. And obviously, like if your parents are gonna have to, like, I don't know, take another mortgage on their house or go out there and like try to find private loans, then that's not worth it. So I've always told my students that if it's too hard and your family is making so much sacrifice, then most likely you should rethink which college you should attend. And again, those conversations need to happen sooner rather than later because it's important for you to know what exactly is your family going to be able to afford. Because again, for us, as being first generation college bound students, we have to have the support of our families, and they're going through the same journey with us because we're the first ones. And they're the first ones to have a kid go through all of this. So it's very important to talk about the finances, how much the expected family contribution is supposed to be, what does that mean? Is it even feasible for your family? And if it's not, that doesn't mean that you're like, oh my gosh, well, I can't go to college anymore. No, that's not what it's saying. It's just basically, you just need to set up a plan. And then we'll have to figure out what's out there for all of you so you can actually afford to go to the college that you want to go to. Okay. The other thing that they give you is going to be like how much loan you can borrow. So you see it says expand all. I don't think I can actually do that because it's just a PowerPoint. But it gives you a lot of information and also gives you data of the colleges that you're actually thinking of applying if you put them on your FAFSA, which is very actually good information. It tells you the graduation rate of that school, the retention rate, like do they actually keep students, and then the transfer rate. So how many students transfer to that school? Again, it's actually very, very helpful to get that information. So again, I just wanted to kind of go over a little bit of what the EFC means. Also, a lot of you, again, are missing some of that information when you submit your FAFSA. So make sure that at the end, don't rush through it. Like go through your information, make sure that you're inputting the right information into your FAFSA. And at the end, make sure that you're looking at what your expected family contribution is, how much loans you can borrow, and also how much Pell Grant you're gonna receive, which is the federal granted money to you. So that way you know how much money you already have in your pocket for you to attend the college that you want to, okay? And again, once you start receiving your award letters from the colleges, At that point, I'm probably gonna meet with one of you again and kind of go over what that means and what your gap is, and making sure to understand how much it's gonna cost you. And not just the first year, because a lot of people sometimes they're just like, well, if I can make it the first year, that means I'll have enough funding for all 4 years. And that's not necessarily true. So we need to think about big picture. We need to think about not only the first year and making sure that you have funding the first year, but also that you're going to be able to have funding coming in throughout your 4 years of college. Okay? Because we want you to make sure that you stay in the college and you graduate, because that's the main goal, for you to have a bachelor's degree at the end of the day. So, yeah. Anywho, I know, again, another thing that I just wanted to mention. If you're like, well, my parents really don't like to talk about finances with me, that's totally normal. Not a lot of families like to talk about finances. A lot of students kind of figure out how much their parents make when they get the taxes, and you are like, oh, that's how much my parents make. And that's okay. If it's really hard for you and you're like, I don't know how to even start this conversation, that's what I'm here for too. Like, I can actually reach out to your parents and say, hey, do you know what this means? And I can explain a little bit better what it means to have a plan, how to have a financial plan for you in the future, and to start thinking about what it means to have an expected family contribution if you do have one. Because again, some of you are probably going to have a zero expected family contribution, which, I mean, again, that's the best, right? Because like your family doesn't have to contribute. But even then, your family probably will contribute something. They're probably going to buy you some books or things that you're going to need to make sure that you're successful in college. So I just want to make sure that that you know that. And so, but again, also not making it to a point that it's like a pressure of like, well, this is the money that you have to contribute. There should be a plan. Okay. Do you have any questions about the expected family contribution or Pell Grants of the FAFSA? Anything? You can put it in the chat, or you can email me.
You have Miss Perez here. Let's use this time.
No questions?
You've got it all figured
Okay.
out, I guess.
Yeah, man, you guys are good. Another thing too is that a lot of you are working. And I know that I get this feedback all the time. Well, I have to work because I want to make sure that I save for college. Yes, you can definitely do that, but obviously you probably have expenses. So be realistic with yourself. Make sure that you are putting like some money aside for things that you're gonna need for college. The first year of college can be a little bit more expensive because you're gonna need items that you didn't expect. Like if you're gonna live in the dorms, you're gonna need dorm things like bedding, a lamp, things that you probably don't budget. So the money that you're putting aside if you're working should be part of that. It should be for those things that you're going to need, and even maybe for your books. But again, I don't, most of the money that you're saving as for working, I think it can help you towards your tuition, but it's not going to be like tons. And that's my experience that I've seen. But you continue working.
How much are books running students per term these days? It was a lot back in my day even.
Mm-hmm. I think back in the day it was because there was not a lot of variety of where to go to buy books. We would have the bookstore, and basically the bookstore would put the price tag because there was not a lot of competition. But nowadays, there's actually a lot of places online that you can buy used books. You can rent books. The library usually at the school has a renting program, so you can actually rent the book for a week. You can make copies of it. They say not to, but who's watching you, right? So make copies. So you gotta hustle. You have to pay for everything in college. So you have to find ways where you can actually find a little loop ways. And so you have to pay for printing, you have to pay for everything. And so you have to pay for even like using their computers. So it's very important for you to make sure that you're finding loopholes where you can. So for me, like, again, there's definitely websites where you can actually start buying, well, when you can buy books that are used, they're much cheaper. And so once, I know that we don't have Avid the whole year, but hopefully some of you will still log into the class just to check in with me or with his math test sometimes. And so I can actually, share a lot of those websites with all of you about books. But it shouldn't be tons, you should be able to buy your books, I would say for your term, like within $1,000 or less. Yeah. But again, that's $1,000. So you still have to, again, everything costs. So you have to have an idea of how much that will be. Okay. So again, if you need me to help you with like talking to your family on how to set up a plan, definitely let me know.
We had a question in the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
So once FAFSA tells me how much I'm receiving, can I request and say it's not enough?
That's a fantastic question. Yes, but you have to say why. So someone is just not going to give you money just to give you money, because every student nowadays needs money to go to college. So you have to be very eloquent in regards of like, you have to tell them why. What's the difference that your family has that others don't? Does that make sense? Because again, all of us need money. And so what I've done with other students before, I basically tell them, like, if it's something very specific, like your mom was laid off of her job, that's something very specific, and you should tell the college, because it affects your financial aid, the expected family contribution. It's non-existent if your parent doesn't have a job. So it's important for you to tell the college, this is what's happening. My parents don't have a job currently, and it's very important. Maybe your mom is sick, or maybe one of your parents is sick. That's also a huge impact. So anything that is impacting you in regards to finances, yes, colleges should definitely hear, and a lot of them will try their hardest to give you more money. Yep. And if you just want to ask, you should ask. They can say no, not at this point, but at least you tried. So definitely, yes, you should definitely ask if it's not enough. Any other questions? Sometimes also they're gonna say like, well, we need to see your grades for the next quarter or the next semester, and if they improve, then we can actually bump you to the next section of like scholarship money. So they might do that too. Says, do you have to log back into your FAFSA application if you already finished it to see how much we're receiving? Most of the times you don't. I think they email you like a summary of how much you're going to receive. That email is very wordy and is very long. So maybe some of you received it and you're like, this is too much. But it's in there. So once they process it, I believe they do send you something about how much you're going to receive. So you should receive an email. And if you don't, let me know. I do believe you can still log back in and actually see how much you're going to receive as well. That's a good question too. Any other questions? So again, if you want to, if you need me to help you talking to your parents about like a financial plan or what a expected family contribution means, please, please, please let me know. I'm more than happy to. I'll be more than happy to make sure that they understand also what that means. All right, so I'm going to go into my section of things that you should know that are coming up. I was very disappointed, you guys, that none of you went to the essay workshop that happened on Monday. It was really good information. So hopefully you'll be able to go to the next sessions that are gonna be coming up. So I'm gonna share my screen again.
And Liz, are those recorded for later viewing, or is it just a live event?
It is recorded. I forgot to record it since the beginning. So it's gone a little bit in the, not in the middle, it's actually like in the second or third slide. So most of it is there. So I can definitely send it to you and you can show it to them. But they will have an opportunity to actually attend the same workshop, just another day.
Okay.
So Ms. Olguin, she's new, and I have been working really, really hard with the district to coordinate a program called Senior Application Week, or no, Senior Information Week, that's what it's called. Where is it? So if you go to the Beaverton High School website, it's right there. If you click on the website, that it was right here, it's gonna kick you out to the actual website for the Senior College Information Week, which is coming out. In Spanish, it's gonna be the Beaverton School District Semana de Información Universitaria. And so it's all gonna be in Spanish. And that's what we've been in charge of making sure that we have representatives from PCC, four-year schools, public schools, private schools, schools that their emphasis is the arts. There's going to be a workshop about FAFSA and ORSA. So there's representatives that they can actually answer some questions. Each night, there's going to be a presentation. So I really, really do hope that all of you and your family can attend. So for example, it's gonna start on October 26th. And the first one is gonna be about understanding financial aid and scholarships. And again, there's gonna be a session in English and there's gonna be a session in Spanish. So your family can decide what is more comfortable for them. Then the 27th, it's a four-year public universities one. This year we actually have, in the Spanish one, we have someone from UC Berkeley coming and talking about the UC system and also the Oregon system of public schools. So that's kind of cool. On Wednesday, there's going to be one session about four-year private colleges. And so the admissions representative for the University of Portland, it's the one for the Spanish section. So again, really good information that is going to come out. Community college is on the 29th. All sessions are going to start at 6:30. And then on Wednesday, the 28th, there's going to be two sessions during the day. So one of them is going to be about arts and colleges and how to apply. And then there's also going to be the college essay writing. Okay. I know that all of you have been working on your essays. So he can probably give you just a tip or two to make sure that, you are in the right track. So that's on Wednesday during the day from 2:30 to 3:15. All the links for it is going to be on this website. Okay. So I really do hope that all of you make the time to attend. If you have a junior friend or sibling, they should also go to this meetings because they need to start preparing for next year. Any questions about Senior College Information Week? No questions? I really hope that I see all of you there because some of you need to hear some of this information. All right. Also, there's just a few of you that I haven't seen for your senior meeting. So I think I called you and I left you messages. So please make sure that you reach out to me to set up a time that works for you to do your senior meeting, okay? If you have to reschedule it, that's fine. Just reschedule it. So please, please, please finish it out. There's just a few of you, a handful of you that haven't done it. So if you're thinking like, well, why do I need to do it? Well, it's important for me to have some information from you, and also for me to know how can I help you, how to further support you. So please make sure that you make an appointment with me. Just email me, tell me when you're available. I'll make it work. Okay. Also on Wednesdays, I'm usually here in the building at BHS. And so if you need help with your FAFSA, like in person, we can definitely meet outside, bring your mask, and I can help you with the FAFSA itself. So please reach out if you need help with your FAFSA, okay? It's very important that you input the information correctly. So anyhow, Wednesdays, I'll be here. If you need me to help you with it, I'm more than happy to, okay? All right, that's all I have. I talked a lot today, sorry.
Okay, it was all great information. Thank you.
All right. All right, friends. Well, I'm going to say goodbye and get on with my day. It was really good to see your names. All right. Bye, everyone. Hey, Melissa.
Bye, Ms. Perez.
Bye.
Thank you, Ms. Perez.
Oh, another thing. Oh my gosh. See, siempre I have things like in my head all the time. If you're applying to University of Washington, your deadline is November 15. I should be getting your coalition application really soon. The coalition application has a lot of steps. Please, if you need help with it, I helped a student the other day, like from Ms. Lee's class. And so it will take you probably a good like hour and a half just to go over all the information that you need to input. And you might not even be done. So please start with your coalition if you're really serious about applying to University of Washington. November 15 is the only deadline they have. If you miss it, you are not able to apply again at any other time. They only have one deadline, November 15. So if you are interested in University of Washington and you're serious about applying, please work on your coalition, okay? All right, that's all. Okay.
Bye. All right, guys. So that was a lot of information, a lot of good information. So, you know, I've said it in some terms, and I'll say it again. There are real deadlines this year. There is real information that's going to impact your immediate future that you need to go out on a limb to seek out that information, and also take advantage of the stuff that's being built for you and provided for you. So that College Information Week is going to be a wealth of information, and knowledge is power. So however scary the future might seem to you, it's going to feel a lot less scary if you're empowered by knowledge. So please do not procrastinate or lazy yourself out of the future that you've always dreamed for yourself, okay? Don't let those two things get you. I know that you guys procrastinate because I do it. Everybody does it. It's human nature. But some things call for us to take the lead, take life by the reins, or whatever you want to call it, and get it done. And we are even less inclined to do that when something is new and different and scary. But you got to be brave. You got to be brave right now, and you got to tackle these tough topics like talking to parents or whoever about expected financial contributions, going on to fill out an application that's going to take you an hour and a half, right? And you have so many people in your corner that are rooting for you. We have each other. You got me, you've got Ms. Perez. Like, we genuinely just want to get you to realize your dreams, and we're willing to do anything to get you there. So don't ever feel afraid to reach out and email Ms. Perez or myself. We're happy to set up one-on-one Zoom sessions or meet in person to like personally walk you through any of this stuff, because we know you're at an especially tough spot with us not being able to see each other face to face. So we're happy to make those accommodations. We want you to do great things, and you got to take some steps to get there. So if you haven't filled out the FAFSA, that's obviously number one. If you didn't pay attention to kind of once you've submitted what the your expected contributions would be, then log back in and check that out. Make sure you're writing down your login information for websites like FAFSA so that you can get back into it easily. You know, and this is the kind of stuff we're in full adulting mode here. And I know that's scary and overwhelming, but especially at 8:30 in the morning, but we got to do these things. So, any questions, comments, concerns? I got a good question. So along with applying to scholarships right now, are we supposed to be applying to schools? So right now in October, no, not really. November might be a different story, but that is for early action. So some colleges start to close their early action applications in November. So unless you have a specific school that you are like 100% interested in, I would check out if they have an early action program. So we'll start talking more about college applications in November. Right now, our sole focus is just, you know, getting some stuff out of the way financially and scholarship wise. So yes, we will be talking more about college applications, which is another thing we're going to pile on here soon. But college application season really doesn't pick up until like December, January, for most of us at least. So yeah, great question. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I got about 9 of your updated resumes, which were due yesterday. So if you have not yet done that, it is a very simple fix to go back into your resume, maybe polish up some things you already had there and add any other important information that is new to your life, whether that be work experience, educational experience. So if you're taking any impressive classes this year, add that to your educational experience. But I need those as well so that I can get those back to you. So we're going to start working on personal statements and OSAC next week. So the OSAC is the Oregon Scholarship application. That's also kind of tied into like the Oregon Promise, which many of you will be applying for to receive potentially, free couple years through PCC or even in a more limited capacity PSU for 4. So get ready for that. Next week's going to be a bit busier. We're a bit slower this week. So yeah, okay, Ms. Perez covered a lot. The expectation is that you, at some point, hopefully before next week, talk to your family. Sometimes people keep it close to their chest if they've been saving any money to help you out in any way. And they may say nothing, and that's okay too, right? That's why we get loans and grants and scholarships and all of that. So maybe you already know, what your family's contribution will be, but if not, if you guys have never talked about that, it's worth an ask. Even if it's just, oh, we'll buy you some stuff for your, dorm or for books or whatever, that's helpful to know, because every dollar you can keep off a loan for yourself is money you'll not have to pay back. So they're important conversations to have. We recognize that they're tough and maybe a little awkward to have, but they got to happen at some point. So we might as well get it done now. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I did have a plan. I don't know about you, but those of you who can vote, my ballot showed up yesterday. So I'm really excited to vote. Voting is a sacred privilege. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about how to be a first-time voter and how to make sure that you're educating yourself and voting confidently in whoever the candidate or on a ballot measure is. So, this is another aspect of adulting that I think we should talk about. So I've saved that for tomorrow because Ms. Perez stayed for longer than I anticipated. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then, we'll be done for the week. So go off, have a good day, get your FAFSA done, get your scholarship done, get your resume done if you've not, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Miss Mathis.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Great day.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. All right. Ivan, you got a question? Melissa. You got a question?
Oh no, it was frozen. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.